But this draft, Dave, these draft profiles, we're going to start with a guy that you dug into today. Who did you look at this afternoon?
Took a look at Tyjae Spears. Tyjae Spears is a Tulane running back. He's 5'11", about 200 pounds, and I love this kid, man. And I'm not the only one. He actually, a lot of people were talking about him during the Senior Bowl, one of them being Jim Nagy. And he was a Seahawks scout for a number of years. Now he runs the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. And the Senior Bowl is a huge deal because they send professional, and I don't remember who the teams were, but they send a staff down there. So it'll be like the Washington Commanders and the Detroit Lions, and they're going through pro drills. They're putting them through it, and the scouts typically, and I've been down to that to the Senior Bowl before a few years ago when a buddy of mine who was a scout had me just tag along with him. And a lot of the scouts, they just watch the practices. That's all they care about. They don't really watch the game. They just want to see and hear, and see these guys up close. And you can stand down on the field and watch the drills and everything. But Jim Nagy was just raving about Tyjae Spears. And, if you look at his stats, I mean, it's pretty easy to get on board with this. I mean, I think he's, they have him ranked as a top 125 player in the draft. Our guy, who was our guy from the Athletic?
Nick Baumgartner?
Baumgartner. Yeah, he actually had him at number 78, I think. So, number 68. He has him going to Denver. So, that the Seahawks this year have, they have number 5 and number 20. But this is a guy that could fit in even at number 37, which is the pick that they got from Denver in the second round, or number 52, same second round status there. Third round, number 83, and then would they have a fourth round pick, number 123. And by the way, the 151st pick, which is in the fifth round, was from Pittsburgh. So they have 2 from Denver and 1 from Pittsburgh, and that was the Ahkello Witherspoon trade. So, but if you look at, who did the Seahawks get last year in the second round, third round, fourth round? They got Boye Mafe, Ken Walker III, Abraham Lucas, Kobe Bryant, and Tariq Woolen. So, I mean, there's a lot of, the Seahawks do really well in that range, and that's kind of where my guy Tyjae Spears, he falls. But if you look at his numbers, first of all, he played in the AAC for Tulane. They were number 1 in that division, and they went to the Cotton Bowl and beat USC 46-45. But guy had 17 carries for 205 yards and 4 touchdowns in that game. So a 12.1 yard average. And and really when you look at the AAC, it's pretty competitive. So they were 12-2, but they played ranked teams 4 of their last 5 games. And in those games, Spears ran for 130, 121, 181, 199, and then, as I mentioned, in the bowl game, in the Cotton Bowl game, 205 yards. So, he had his pro day 4.54 40, but he's got incredible quickness and what I call creativity, Mike. Like when you go downfield, just whatever happens in your mind, how you're going to juke a guy. He's just incredibly innovative as far as his moves go, and his feet are just like, it's like watching a drum roll. They're just constantly moving, and pretty good workout though at the combine. He jumped the broad jump over 10 feet, 39-inch vertical. Which means for a 5'10" guy, he can dunk a basketball pretty easily. The bench press, he got 18 reps in on that. So, yeah, I mean, he is he's just a really fun player to watch, and I feel like if they could add that to their offense, he's kind of like a utility guy because he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. And his career, he averaged 11.8 yards per catch. But if you look at his entire career at Tulane, he averaged on 475 plays where he touched the ball, he averaged 7.3 yards. So, look, I know it's college, these are college numbers, but when you hear his name from a guy like Jim Nagy, and he was talking to Bump and Stacy about about the Tyjae Spears' performance at the Senior Bowl, then that really stands out. I mean, especially if you have a good Senior Bowl, there's players that have jumped up a couple of slots just because of that, because of their performance there, because, everybody goes down there. By the way, Mobile, Alabama is kind of a sleepy little town. And when you go down there, when I went down there in the early 2000s, it was like, you'd see Jack Del Rio, Mike Martz, I remember striking up a conversation. Mike Martz was the head coach of the Rams at the time when they were in St. Louis. And, he was just sitting at the bar next to me, and we just started talking about other things, and I mean, you see John Elway, you see John Schneider. I mean, everybody from the NFL goes down to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. And, this kid performed really well in those practices.